Welcome, Rebels. Studio G, I'm Richard Pedzik.
And I'm Anna Saya. Thank you for joining us. Today we'll be covering the latest surrounding the Astroworld Festival, John Gruden news, and the latest updates with the coronavirus.
We will also have local news and a special in-studio interview with Executive Director of the Marjorie Barrick Museum of Art, Alicia Curlin.
All that and more starting now.
The tragedy that was Travis Scott's Astroworld has now claimed another life. Travis Scott's set lasted only about an hour while medical personnel were rushed to calls of people passing out, having seizures, and dying. People were climbing on stage and trying to stop the show. Countless TikTok videos showed this horrific event.
The death toll has now risen to 10. Authorities gave word at about 10:03 p.m. that the concert was in the process of shutting down, but witnesses say Scott and Drake, who came on toward the end of Scott's set as a special guest, kept performing. Scott will have to respond to hundreds of lawsuits from families who went. The 9-year-old was in a coma after the Travis Scott concert, has now died in the hospital, being the most recent and youngest victim.
You know, it's just horrible. This is one of the worst things of our generation. We're going to remember this a long time.
It really is, I agree. So,
Las Vegas police were called to the 1500 block of Arville Street near Charleston Boulevard. That is where Metro found a body covered with insulating spray foam. This find led them to an arrest of a 55-year-old man, Christopher Barrios. Barrios' family said that they had not heard from him in 2 days. Upon further inspection, the police found cans of spray foam, disposable white gloves, and towels soaked in blood. A Lowe's near the home provided Las Vegas police with evidence of Barrios' purchase of the spray foam on September 2nd.
as we get ready for the holidays, health officials are concerned about a possible COVID surge during the winter. CNN reporter John Lawrence has more.
The U.S. is making progress in the fight against COVID-19, but the war is not over.
Yes, cases are down about half where they were at the beginning of September, but put that into context. We're still seeing about 4 to 5 times as many cases as we were seeing in June.
Average new coronavirus cases are up in 19 states over the past week compared to the week before, according to Johns Hopkins University data, and more hospitalizations in 11 states, according to Health and Human Services data.
We're already seeing in places in Europe that even in countries that have higher vaccination rates than we do, that they are going through a massive winter surge. And I'm very worried about the holidays ahead.
AAA predicts nearly 53.5 million Americans will leave home to see family and friends for Thanksgiving. That's a 13% rise from last year, and some health experts say these gatherings could lead to another spike.
If you have to travel, make sure that you're wearing a mask. A properly fitting surgical mask or a KN95 are the best options, especially when you're in closed spaces around people whose vaccination status you're not aware of.
Some medical experts say getting a COVID-19 shot would be a good present for people to give their loved ones.
Everybody who's eligible to be vaccinated should be vaccinated, including now children 5 to 11, and also all those eligible to get boosters should do so too.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
We will be keeping you updated on the concerns of a winter surge of COVID-19 as we move into that season.
That's right, and the holiday season is nearly here, and many are beginning to put up their Christmas trees. But there has been an early shortage of Christmas trees. CNN reporter Karen Kaifa has more.
Trees are never far from John-C. Underwood's mind.
Surprising how many people do think that you put them in the ground in the spring and you're going to harvest them at, November, December. It doesn't work that way.
At our family farm, Pine Valley Christmas Trees in the northeast corner of Maryland, the journey from planting seedlings in these fields to a family's living room is a long one.
Once you plant them out, depending on the type of tree, it may take 6 to 10 years before you have a sellable tree.
From too much water to too little to pests, a lot can happen. It also means farmers like Underwood can't simply ramp up supply when demand spikes.
Because it takes 7 to 10 years for your crop to mature, you don't have much choice about how many trees you can offer.
More Americans stayed home for the holidays in 2020 because of the pandemic, so Christmas trees were in high demand. And some sellers found themselves short, a consequence of the Great Recession more than a decade ago that put a lot of farmers out of business.
We were actually sold out on about the 3rd of December. We had another load of trees come in, and it was gone in a day and a half.
In Southern California, Carl Holloway says he plants about 3,000 trees per year on the farm his father started in 1958.
We grow a Monterey pine, which is a beautiful tree, but a lot of people would rather have what they grew up with as children.
His crops fighting challenges like California droughts. He brings in about half the trees he sells each year, mostly balsam and grand firs from the Pacific Northwest, where tree crops have also been hit hard by fires and extreme heat. In Oregon, for example, one of the country's top Christmas tree producers, farmers only cut and sold 3.44 million trees in 2020, down 27% from 2015, according to the USDA.
And because of that, and because of labor shortages and other things, the price of the trees has gone up at least 100% in the last 10 years.
All affecting Holloway's bottom line. But for both farmers, a hectic holiday season is family tradition.
I love when our customers come in and they say, you know, my child was a baby when I first started coming here, and now they're bringing their children or their grandchildren.
Those deep roots may be a reason to appreciate a tree a little bit more this year. In Elkton, Maryland, I'm Karen Kafa.
Anna, you look like someone that's in the Christmas spirit. Have you put up your Christmas tree yet?
I have, but it's not a real one. It is a fake one.
You know, I've just been listening to Christmas music. It's November. A little bit early, but, you know.
Getting into the season. So looking back at the weekend, Day in Vegas is a 3-day hip-hop and rap festival that took place this past weekend. Headliners included Kendrick Lamar, Post Malone, and Tyler, the Creator. This festival comes a week after the tragic Astroworld Festival that resulted in the death of 10.
Day in Vegas took extra precautions when it came to security and safety for the guests. There was extra security guards who were passing out water bottles both outside and inside the festival during performances. Guests in the front of the railings would hand off water bottles to the people in the middle of the crowd.
Multiple emergency exits were posted around the venue with security located at every corner before every performance. There was a PSA on the big screen letting guests know if they feel unwell or want to get out. To let security know, it also reminded guests that there were multiple emergency exits available.
Even guests were concerned about safety too, and would be seen making barriers around anyone who felt unwell in the crowds. Ashton Howard on Twitter reported, quote, "Security has been on point from my point of view. They are more or less focused on safety as opposed to policing. In general, lots of them walking around, passed out water bottles, and checked on people," end quote. Did you go to Day in Vegas?
I did. I'm not a big festival person, but from what it looked like, everyone seemed pretty safe this time.
Yeah, after the Travis Scott Festival, they needed to take those extra precautions. Well, now to a news break.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
First, they said cigarettes were safe. We know how that turned out. Now, they say they didn't market e-cigarettes to teens. Fact, more than 1 in 4 high school students are vaping, and 80% say their first e-cigarette was flavored. Vaping is harmful to developing brains. The reason we think vaping is safe? Marketing. Same lies, different day. Tell Big Vape to quit lying.
Welcome back. Today I'm with Alicia Curlin, the Executive Director of the Marjorie Barrick Museum of Art. It's great to have you in.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
So I want to talk about the exhibit that's there right now. And it has very strong themes. It's called I'm Here. That is one of the exhibits. And I want to know, since you are the Executive Director, what was the process of selecting that exact exhibit? Or how did you go about that?
Well, pretty much everything we do at the Barrack is new knowledge. This show was created from the ground up. We had nothing. We chose I Am Here. That came from 1,000 conversations, walking around the space, deciding which artists we wanted to invite, what could we show from the collection, who could we invite, to tell their story. It really was inspired by a piece that we recently collected from Ashley Dowdy Harrison, and it is called I Am Not. And she produced that in June 2020. And it clearly says who she is. It tells her story. In fact, it's 10 feet tall, brightly colored on the wall. She's saying who she is not. And so we looked for artists who had chosen art as their medium for conveying personal stories. And so that was really the ember that helped put that together.
And there is other exhibits or other pieces that are in that. I went and walked around myself, and at first when I saw this candy on the floor, I'm like, am I supposed to eat it? And I know a little bit of the story, but would you mind maybe telling that story of that piece?
Yeah, what did you first think, though, when you saw that?
When I first saw it, I was like, I just honestly thought I wasn't supposed to touch it. But then I talked to Deanna, who was down there. She told me that it's more of an interactive piece. So, yeah, I guess talk about that.
So I'll just walk the audience through. When you walk into the museum, there's this glowing pile of what many people describe as like broken glass, right? You walk up to it, you realize it's candy, green candy wrapped in individual clear cellophane wrappers. This is an important piece. In my career, I never thought I would be able to exhibit Felix Gonzalez Torres, but Art Bridges said we could borrow anything from their collection, and we chose Felix Gonzalez Torres because to many of the other works in the show and many of our alumni and students, Felix Gonzalez Torres is very inspiring. This piece in particular invites viewers to reach down and take a piece of candy. You can choose to do it, or you could choose not to. What does it mean as a viewer to come in and take and consume a piece of candy, or save it as a keepsake? It's not a tunnel vision story. Everyone is able to have their own response to the piece, and Felix always encouraged that. But what we do know about him is that he's a Cuban-American artist that we're instructed to put 50 pounds of candy down. It needed to be green. And the title of the piece is Untitled, like many of his famous candy spill works. Untitled 1991 LA. And that was the same year that his partner, Ross, died in LA. So we know that it has a connection to his personal life and his partner. He was openly gay when a lot of artists were not. And so what does that mean to take a piece of candy, if it is about Ross, and then to have it completely be rebirthed and regenerated throughout the life of the piece?
And people can go online and read more about these different pieces.
Yeah.
And I do know that candy, Deanna told me it's going to be refilled after when they pick it up.
Yeah.
So if people don't know, students on campus, where's the Marjorie Barrack Museum of Art located?
It's easy. If you're coming from the Strip, you're going to head east from the Strip, and it's going to dead end right in front of the museum by the library. If you're a student, look for the library, look for the Desert Garden, look for WRI. We're right there. We're completely free too, so a lot of students will tell me, oh, I'm in my 3rd year. I didn't know we had an art museum. I wasn't sure that I was invited to come in. And so my challenge would be to come on in. It's for you. You activate it. And if you see something that you like, talk to us about it. If you have opinions on what you would like to see at your museum, let us know.
We really appreciate you coming in, and I hope some students can come check it out. So thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this break.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie. Nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
First, they said cigarettes were safe. We know how that turned out. Now, they say they didn't market e-cigarettes to teens? Fact, more than 1 in 4 high school students are vaping, and 80% say their first e-cigarette was flavored. Vaping is harmful to developing brains. The reason we think vaping is safe? Marketing. Same lies, different day. Tell Big Vape to quit lying.
Welcome back to today's weather. So right now we're sitting at 72 degrees. It's nice and sunny outside, so you don't really have to wear a jacket just yet, even though we're creeping slowly into the cold weather. So looking at the rest of the week, looking for tomorrow, we got 77, and then as we go later on, it gets a little bit hotter, but not too bad. So 80 degrees throughout the weekends, all sunny skies. If you want to take a nice hike and cool down a little bit by Mount Charleston, that'd be a great idea, but that's all I have for you. So back to Richard.
Thanks for that forecast, Anna. Our Vegas Golden Knights played this past Thursday and Saturday. Last Thursday, they went against the Minnesota Wilds in a close game, but pulled off with a win. The final score was 3-2. This past Saturday, they went head-to-head against the Vancouver Canucks and won 7-4 after a rocky start to the game when the Canucks had back-to-back goals in the first period. But VGK managed to the game by the end of the second period and pulled ahead in the third period with 4 goals. The next game for the Vegas Golden Knights is tonight at the T-Mobile Arena at 7 p.m. against the Carolina Hurricanes, who is seeded 1 in the Metropolitan Division with 11 wins and 2 losses.
The Las Vegas Raiders went against the Kansas City Chiefs this past Sunday and lost 41-14. The Raiders started to look promising when they tied the score in the second quarter, 7-7, but then fell behind after the Raiders' next game. The next game is Sunday at 1:05 p.m. against the Cincinnati Bengals at Allegiant Stadium. Our UNLV football team played this past Saturday against the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors and won 27-13. UNLV was trailing by 3 points by the end of the first quarter, but then tied the score going into halftime. They took the lead in the third quarter and was able to hold the lead to secure a win. UNLV's next game is this Friday at 8:30 p.m. against San Diego State here at Allegiant Stadium. Go get your tickets and let's root for our Rebels.
Our Henderson Silver Knights had 2 away games this past Friday and Saturday against the Stockton Heat. The Silver Knights lost Friday's game 2-3, but came back Saturday and won in overtime 4-3. Their next games are going to be this Friday and Saturday against the Colorado Eagles at the Budweiser Event Center at 6 p.m. Chris Daughtry postpones his tour after the unfortunate passing of his 25-year-old daughter. Chris Daughtry has posted on his Instagram to say, due to the unexpected death of Chris and Deanna Daughtry's daughter, Hannah, all currently scheduled shows this weekend for Daughtry have been postponed. The Daughtry family thanks you for understanding and respectfully asks for privacy during this very difficult time. Further details will be made available at a later date. This investigation into this tragic death is still ongoing.
Britney Spears has been freed from a legal arrangement that, according to her, has been controlling her life. Shown on the screen now is fans gathering outside the courthouse for Britney Spears' conservators' HIP hearing for 13 years. This legal arrangement controlled things in her life like what she could do, where she could go, among other aspects. To her 35 million followers, quote, "I think I'm going to cry as this has been something she wanted for a long time," end quote. Today is National Hike Day. The holiday is meant to inspire people to go out for recreational hikes and activities. Las Vegas has one of the biggest number of nature hike trails in the nation. Today is looking like a great day for a hike.
You know, today was a great show, and I just wanted to say, were you going to go to the Marjorie Barrick Museum of Art? I mean, we had the director in here, and she gave a good spiel on it, you know. You going to go?
I haven't been yet, but after hearing about the candy, that sounds pretty interesting, and I might just take a hike down there, because it's a little ways from here, but we'll see, right?
Yeah. Well, that's all we have for today's show. Thanks for joining us. I'm Richard Pedzik.
And I'm Anna Saya. See you next time.